I reached out to every single Montgomery City Council member. Some of them didn't even pick up the phone. Others tell me they're speechless.
Hey folks, Dale Jackson here for Yellow Hammer Now. Let's talk a little bit about the mayor of Montgomery, Steven Reed, and the comments that have been leaked. I guess that's what's happened here, where he says that he doesn't have to do no work and he'll continue to get elected in Montgomery, which is a weird thing to have come out in the middle of a re-election year, but it's happening, and let's see what he actually had to say.
Montgomery Mayor Steven Reed is at the center of a newly released audio recording posted online.
In them, you hear what sounds like Mayor Reed in a profanity-laced rant.
The conversation reportedly happened 3 years ago, but is only now being made public. WSFA 12 News anchor Sally Pitts shares parts of those recordings and has reaction from a man who claims he was in the room when they were made.
A group called Montgomery Deserves Better released the audio recordings. In it, the mayor discusses the black vote, white investment in the city, and Maxwell Gunter Air Force Base. We spoke to someone who claims to have been in the room at the time. He tells us this all happened nearly 3 years ago. Here's part of those recordings.
Don't tell me that I'm on TV. Every time I'm on TV, I get somebody from New York or LA calling about how can they invest in where he gonna invest in Montgomery? You think I expect the descendants of Confederate soldiers to invest in Montgomery? Beyond what's good for them. They give you some charity. They give you some charity. Okay? They do that. It's nice. Okay. They'll do some little nice thing over here, Valley Cross, or on the board. Okay. But now, are they gonna really invest in systemic change? No, they're not going to invest in it. So don't ever mix up what I'm doing there. There is a you haven't seen a scientist as diabolical as me because no one has come into this with what I have.
Charles Lee, owner of That's My Child, says he was there when the mayor went on the profanity-laced rant. He says a group of community activists were meeting with the mayor following the death of George Floyd to discuss keeping the peace in the capital city. Lee said the group thought they were meeting with the mayor about how to improve the city. Instead, he says they felt insulted.
And the mayor said, man, I don't got to do nothing. I don't got to do nothing. I'm always get 30, 80, 45% of the white vote, and I don't never need the black vote. To nothing but, we ain't nothing but black voters. So it's like, you tell us to our face you don't need nothing.
I asked Lee if this audio is from nearly 3 years ago, why did they wait until now to release it? He said everyone involved in the meeting with Mayor Reed made a pact to not release it until they all gave the green light to put it out to the public.
Now, Steven Reed is not going to own these comments. The city has already put out a statement, which I think is probably pretty inappropriate, seeing how the statement should come from him, and he should make it on the record and talk to members of the media. But it basically says that all of this was part of a heavily edited clip. Pay attention to this. He says, there is an audio clip that features me speaking privately with a member of the Montgomery community. This clip has been heavily edited and features carefully selected sound bites of my voice. The conversation was recorded without my knowledge or consent by this community member almost 3 years ago. The meeting with this community member was prompted by our concerns about civil unrest in the immediate aftermath of George Floyd. During this meeting, it became abundantly clear to me that this individual sought personal financial gain during a time of crisis in our city, state, and country. You have my word that no one in my administration will ever give in to a shakedown or extortion. So what did you mean, Mr. Mayor? I mean, that's really what's missing from this. Yes, you can claim that the clip was edited. You can claim you were the victim of a shakedown. You can claim a whole bunch of different things here. But what did you mean when you don't have to do no blank work? What did you mean when you said it didn't matter if you got the black vote? What did you mean when you talked about members of your community in this terrible way? And what did you mean when you said those at Fort Rucker just don't matter, and the only people you know there are the people who you have to meet as the mayor? What did you mean when you were talking terribly, not only about your community, but basically everyone that lives there? What do you mean it was highly edited? So tell us what was edited. You clearly said these words. So what were the other words you said? Like, wouldn't it be awful if I said this? And then you said some of this terrible stuff. And wouldn't it be really bad if I said that? And then you said some more terrible, awful stuff. You saying that this is edited and taken out of context, give us the context. Tell us what you actually meant. That would be nice. And the invoking of George Floyd here is a very nice touch. A very nice touch. Because that right there will operate as a shield, and it will gather people to your side. Now, I'm not delusional. I know for a fact that Steven Reed is going to get reelected. Because he's right. Everything he says here, he honestly believes, and will probably pan out the way he said it will. And that's a mark against Montgomery, not only a mark against Steven Reed, but I think that's how all of this is probably going to play out. It is up to our friends in the mainstream media to come out and demand more from elected officials. If you're not willing to demand more, this is what you're going to get. The community has to demand more, or this is what you're going to get. But let's just go ahead and jump to the end here. This is what you're going to get.